Hi, it's TubeMix or Will here, and you may have seen that I was going to be posting some bonus content. Well, here is the bonus content. To celebrate Disney's 100th anniversary, the studio has released a new short film called Once Upon a Studio. It combines live action, 3D CGI, and 2D traditionally hand-drawn, inked and painted animation. And it's just absolutely wonderful. So in this video I'm going to be talking about it, sort of a mini review, sort of a general discussion, and things that I think it could have done and to improve it. And yeah, so if you're ready, then let's jump in. So the film begins at the Roy E. Disney Animation Building. Now, you're probably going to say, well, there's two Roy Disneys. Well, that is true. There was Roy O. Disney, who was Walt's brother, and there was Roy E. Disney, who was Walt's nephew. Now, Roy E. Disney looked and sounded quite like Walt. You may have seen him in a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, while Roy O. Disney didn't particularly. And, so the building is named after Roy E. Disney. And it starts with a young intern and Bernie Mattson walking around the Disney studio at the end of the day. And just as they're going out the doors, Bernie Mattson says, "Boy, if these walls could talk." And as they go out, Mickey comes out of his animation cell, asks Tinkerbell if everyone has gone and the coast is clear. Tinkerbell gives the cue, and as soon as that, he and Minnie jump out of all their cells and ask everybody else to jump out of theirs so to get everybody to do a group photo. And it's just absolutely wonderful to see a lot of these characters, in the Disney building, and all together, the traditionally 2D hand-drawn, inked and painted animation, which is absolutely wonderful, and the 3D CGI characters as well. And for this film, some animators were brought out of retirement, and Eric Goldberg, who is a modern Disney animation legend, I think, he animated the genie in the original Aladdin film released in 1992, and he got the task of animating the genie again. So it was absolutely wonderful, and such a love letter to Disney. Now, of course, it's only 9 minutes long, and with lots of characters, it's got a lot to cram into. And what's particularly amazing is that for some of the characters, they got their original surviving voice actors to come back. People like Jeremy Irons as Scar, marking his first time since he's reprised him since the original film of The Lion King in 1994. Because whenever they needed Scar, it's generally been Jim Cummings. And there's a few other people that have done it, but yeah, it's usually Jim Cummings, and it's so fantastic to see Jeremy Irons, and it's pretty amazing that they managed to get them back. And a lot of the actors were really keen to be in it because they knew they were part of something special and probably giving back, saying thank you for, the experiences we have. So that was absolutely wonderful. Some of them were voiced by new actors replacing the originals, and some of them were voiced through the use of archival audio from the actors no longer with us, particularly Robin Williams as Genie. And they got permission from Robin Williams' estate, and people will say, well, Robin Williams said that he wasn't keen on his voice being used, but they got the permission from the estate. And yes, so the estate said yes, they approved, and they were able to use some unused takes that weren't used in Aladdin for Robin Williams as the genie. And most notably, Cliff Edwards, who originally voiced Jiminy Cricket in Pinocchio, and who originally recorded When You Wish Upon a Star, of course, and voiced him all the way through the Disney anthology TV shows, and the Mickey Mouse Club, and Fun and Fancy Free, and voiced him for a very, very long time. His voice is used again for singing When You Wish Upon a Star. Now, I'll come back to that in a moment. And one of my favourite moments that really made me laugh was when a lot of the characters are getting in the studio lift, and Donald Duck and a lot of others are in there. And Baymax from Big Hero 6 is trying to squeeze in. And Donald's, well, as you know, of course, he's not known for his patience, is he? So it's a really funny moment. Another great moment was the puppies watching Fantasia. They were watching the night on Bear Mountain. the night in Bald Mountain. On Bald Mountain. That would... Yeah, no, that'd be quite funny. Night on Bear Mountain, sorry. And in fact, they figured that they would put it on the TV that we were watching because Chumabog, probably not pronounced his name right, but the gargoyle guy, it's too big, basically. So that's how they managed to get around that. So eventually everyone makes their way to the outside of the Disney building ready for the group photo. And the task of taking the photo, well, it's Goofy. However, with Goofy, of course, nothing is ever straightforward. And after slipping off the ladder and managing to nearly drop the camera and letting out his hover, the fairy godmother from Cinderella manages to magic him so he could take the camera and everyone could get their photo. And the film ends with none other than When You Wish Upon a Star. Yes, the characters all get to sing When You Wish Upon a Star, which there's no song quite fitting, is it? I mean, it's the theme song to Disney, really. It's used on, every intro before you see a film. The Disney Castle is that music, of course. Of course, originally written for Pinocchio by Lee Harlan and Ed Washington, used as the theme to the Walt Disney Anthology TV shows as well, if you used to watch them. And it just is absolutely brilliant. And Pooh gets to sing it, and Jiminy Cricket, of course, gets to sing it. One thing I would have changed, that I would have had Jiminy Cricket start and end the song. Now, they actually start the song by an instrumental break. So you have Alan Adale from Robin Hood sitting on the building. I mean, it's just amazing, playing on his guitar. And then you have Scat Cat from the Aristocats playing on his trumpet. And while that is brilliant, and this is where the film could have done with being a bit longer, 9 minutes isn't enough. Could have done with being 15 minutes, really. But yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe that would just be more padding. The other thing that I think would have improved it I would have had audio of Walt Disney himself. I think the Keep Moving Forward quote, if you've seen Meet the Robinsons, if you've been to the Disney 100 exhibition, you'll know the quote's exactly what I'm on about. And I only hope we don't lose sight of one thing. It was all started by a mouse. I think they could have used that. And in fact, it would have been funny if Oswald, who is in this short, had a placard saying, and a rabbit. I think that would have been really fun and added a bit more comedy to it. So that's the two things that I would have added. My only criticism, and well, this is inevitable really when you're cramming so many characters in, it is a bit gimmicky. It's not as clever as Get a Horse. If you remember Get a Horse, well, if you don't remember, I'll quickly recap it for you. So it's the film that preceded Frozen, if you went to see it at the cinema, and it combined 3D CGI with 2D traditionally hand-drawn animation. And the idea was that it would start off as, if it was a 20s or 30s Mickey Mouse short, and then the cinema screen, they managed to break through and they become 3D colour CGI. And it's just an absolutely clever short, and they use the screen as if it was a flip book to twist Pete round and round because Peter's kidnapped Minnie, and they use Minnie is rescued, but they use it as a flip book, and then they flip the screen over so that Pete keeps hurting himself, and the process is repeated. It's such a brilliant shot. I do recommend you watch it. So it's not as clever as Get a Horse. That for me is going to be very, very hard to beat. But I would love another short where we get to see all the Disney characters walking around the Disney studio. You know, maybe a sequel, maybe when some of the humans find out the characters can talk and are alive. I mean, that would be pretty great, I think. Or maybe even a feature-length film, although I don't know, you'd have to find adjustable plot, wouldn't you? See, getting everybody to a group photo is very good for a short, but for a film you'd have to have a much more challenging plot. And I'm sure it could be done. I mean, we've had Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and actually the idea that somebody, humans find out that cartoons are alive, I actually like the idea of that. So maybe they could do that. And, it'd be great if we could see, some of the Pixar characters as well, because I know we're celebrating 100th anniversary of Disney, honouring Disney feature animation, but I would have loved to see some Pixar. I've always dreamt of Buzz Lightyear interacting with Mickey and, Woody interacting with Goofy. I think it would just be so wonderful. But I understand why they didn't do that. And yes, so the film, of course, ends with them getting the group photo, singing When You Wish Upon a Star, and a lovely quote to all those who watched us, dreamed with us, and inspired us. Thank you. And everyone did such a great job. Now, a little bit of interesting trivia for you. So Winnie the Pooh was voiced by 2 actors, and yeah, in fact some of them were voiced by 2 actors, because some of them had archived the audio and some of them had stand-ins, if they need new lines. So Winnie the Pooh was voiced by 2 actors, the late great Sterling Holloway, a Disney legend. They used him for the Cheshire Cat and Carl the Snake from the Jungle Book. Well, he voiced Pooh in that when you were seeing Christopher Robin and everyone trying to get Pooh out of his animation cell because he got stuck. And for Pooh's line in When You Wish Upon a Star, that was done by his current voice actor and who's voiced him since 1980. Well, actually it would have been 87 when they were recording the voices. The brilliant Jim Cummings, the Mel Blanc of his generation, I think. So yeah, absolutely wonderful. And yeah, that's basically it. It was a wonderful show. I do recommend you give it a watch. Yeah, don't expect anything particularly intelligent plot, but if you're looking for just a fun couple of minutes with a lot of your favourite characters, well, I think you're going to get it. It's really wonderful. So if you want to, feel free to like, share, comment and subscribe to the TubeMix YouTube channel. Sorry, excuse me. And I'll see you next time. Cheers. Bye bye.